Hello, Marcel. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. We are here in Valencia, and we are here to talk about you. As usually, I did some research, and I saw you are a futurist, and you won awards for innovation. You designed a tool called Trend Canvas to help people analyze, or to give them a method to analyze trends. You are such a lot of things. You are an ambassador for the Ministry of Curiosity, and you wrote books.
Yes.
Bestseller books. So in order not to forget anything and to give the right weight to everything, please tell yourself a little bit. Who are you?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you, Vera, for having me. It's such a pleasure. I think you already mentioned a lot. In general, I work over 20 years in the ecosystem of innovation, strategy, and trends. And that what's fascinated me my whole life. I was fascinated by trends and innovations since I was a kid, and I was always curious about the new. And so I'm really happy to do this, what I'm doing, working with people on their futures, working on innovation, inspire people for their futures. That's what I do in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. We have always these 5 questions to compare all our interviewees, and so we start with, you come very far at your age, so you have personally an idea why you did come so far, why are you so successful?
I think first of all, it's really because I do what I like. Yep. As I mentioned before, I was always fascinated about trends and the new stuff, and I was always also some kind of a rule breaker. My mom told me many times, and she still does, please do something normal. Please act normal. Look how other people are doing it and do it the same. And I don't know, in so many situations of my life, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. It sounds boring. I can do it differently. I can do it better, or I just don't want to do it. So I think that's a really important part of all what I did so far. And I have also the privilege to work with people, with really great people, really innovative people, inspiring people, progressive people. And this was also all the time very important for me, that I have people around me that support me, but also challenging me. And also my friends and family is a very important source of energy, and also a kind of a fallback system. So they are also very important. And I think the third point is I do something meaningful. That what is for me really important. So an ordinary job was never an option for me. For me, it was always very important. Okay, I want to do something to give something back to the society and the economy, and I want to create something that will remain, that will stay if I am not here anymore, which will build up on my mission.
I know you a little bit, and you are really a happy person. And so you do what you like, and then it reflects on you.
Yes.
So you mentioned your family and friends, and do you have sort of a role model?
I'm not sure if I think there's not one role model. I really had many role models in my life. At the moment, really my grandma is kind of a role model. She's 94 years old, so really old, and every time I meet her, she's telling me how happy she is about the things she have. And that's really like, it's really inspires me, I have to say. Because in this way you see with all the social media, all the different lives and what other people have and so on, you always come or tend to go into this comparison mode. And she's 49 and she tells me, oh, I'm happy, I have this, I have that, it's so nice, it's very inspiring.
Yeah, that's because at that age she could also mention what she does not have anymore, physically, for example. That's
yes,
great.
Absolutely, that's really a role model, yeah.
And of other topics to be inspiring for you, for example, nature or art, you get some strength out of there?
Yeah, I love art. I love art, especially in my keynotes. I use a lot of art to explain development and trends. Yeah. Yes, I really love to do it because it's such a cool tool to use it in the storytelling. At the end, when you do a keynote, it's about inspiring. Of course, you have to give the people information and content, but I think a lot of people underestimate that it's more about 80%, it's about storytelling and emotionalize people, and just 20% about really the content. And art is an amazing source to transport, to explain things. I really love it. And it's also inspiring me in my work as well. And nature, it's a big inspirator for innovation. There are a lot of innovations that are, inspired by the nature. For example, this whole circular economy trend, right? That you produce something and you have leftovers, and you think about, okay, what can I do with these leftovers? Can I do something with it for my next producement process, or can somebody else do it, so that everything is going into circles, like the nature is doing it. So nature is really, it's really fascinating. Also when it comes to innovation. For most of the people, it's like, I love nature to calm down and things like that, you know. But I also do this. I also like to be in the nature, and it really helps me to calm down. But also from an innovation point of perspective, as I said, it's a really helpful source.
Yeah, nothing gets lost.
Yes.
And we have the circles.
Yes, everything makes sense. There's no waste, you know. And I think it's also interesting that it's not about efficiency. It's about effectiveness, you know. Because everything, for example, what a tree gives away, it's nothing bad. It doesn't matter if he gives away, I don't know, a ton or a dozen. It's okay, you know, because there's no waste. Everything goes into circles. Everything has a connection, a purpose.
Yeah. We start to see that they communicate. Trees, for example, and other plants, they react to fire and all that. It's really fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah. So you wrote books, and we will talk about them later on. But when people ask you, Marcel, how should I live? What advice would you give me? You have something real common or for everyday life, and
I think in general it's important to have some kind of a picture of your life in the future, some kind of a goal, some kind of a picture, or of a vision, however you wanna call it, a North Star. So where I wanna be in 10 years, in 20 years, how should my life look like? How should it feel like, right? And based on that, you can then think about, okay, what do I have to do to reach that goal? You know, what are the milestones? What are the obstacles I will face? What are the decisions I have to make? It's called backcasting. You know, you have your goal, you have your picture of the future, and then you go backwards.
retroengineering.
it's like, yes, reverse engineering, a little bit like that. And it sounds very complicated, but the funny thing is at the end, we do backcasting every day, you know, every holiday is a backcasting process. You think about, okay, when do I have to get up? When I get into taxi? Which airlines do I take? And then how's the final step of my journey? Do I take the car or the train? And when I do, which one at which time? And so it's always this kind of backcasting. Like every day we do this backcasting. So why don't do it for the whole picture? It's really, because then the future, I mean, nowadays we have so a big uncertainty about the future. But if you do this backcasting, it's like, it feels like you get access to it, you know? And I think that's, in general, also for myself, very important. And also back this up with a clear purpose, why you're doing this. My purpose is really to secure the progress of the society and economy. And this is like, this is never going away, you know? It's like, if I mess up at a keynote, if I mess up in a project, the next day I get up, I do the same. I have my purpose. I try to secure the progress of the economy and of the society. And I think that's very important because from time to time you will mess up, you know? You will lose games. You will lose many games in your life, but you have to have this purpose. This gives you a lot of energy. So I think this is some kind of fundamental. And when it comes to decisions, there's this saying I really like. It's like, love it, change it, or live it. You know, I think, and that's helps me a lot in my life. So if I love someone or something or some place, it's good. If I don't, okay, can I change it? So I try to change it. If I see I can't change it, then it's time to leave. So this is, it sounds easier than it is then in real life, but for me it was always a very good, and a very good anchor, you know, a very good compass. And the third thing, which I really try to implement in my life and reconsider many times is, Michael Lehofer once said this to me. He's a management coach and psychologist. And we had a management seminar. And at the end of the seminar, one guy said, Michael, you are so calm. You have such a great aura. So how you do this? And he said, like, what is the most important time for you guys? And the people said, well, it's with my friends, it's with my kids, it's with my partner. And he said, look, the most important time for me is always now. It's always now. Because if it's just with the kids or with their partner, you lose too many time, you know? And I said, okay, interesting, I heard that before. And then he said, was like, okay, what is the most important person in your life? And the people started again like, it's my girlfriend, it's my wife, it's my kids. And he said, look, and for me, the most important person is always the one who is sitting in front of me. I give that person all my attention.
Okay.
Because then you are really in the moment, you know, and then you can have really good conversations. And then the last thing was like, okay, so what is the most important thing to do? The people starting again like, well, I need to do more sports and I have to take care of the kids and I have to do this and I have to do my master's degree. And he said, look, for me, the most important thing to do is to take care.
Yeah.
Is to take care. You know, if something is not working like you want to work it, take care of it.
Okay.
If you have a problem with your health, take care of it. If you have a goal, take care of it. That's all. And these three principles, they really also help me a lot in my daily work. Yes.
This brings us to, what do you enjoy most in your life?
I enjoy playing most in my life. Play board games, video games, soccer, spending time with friends and family and just play or even watch a play. That's what I really enjoy, and because of that I also try to bring all this kind of playfulness also in my work. And especially when it comes to innovation, this playfulness, creative thing, it's very important.
Good. So you have utopia.
I'm not sure if it's a utopia, but we will have the subject futures in school, and it will feels like biology, because we need this subject. It's very important.
So you mentioned it at the moment. That was something I didn't knew until I read your book. You're talking about futures.
Yes.
So could you talk a little bit about your book?
Yeah, sure. We talk about futures. It's very interesting because when we talk about in German, we say it's like Zukunftskompetenz. It's like singular. But in English, you say futures literacy. So, and I think that's very important when it comes to the literacy about the future, that there are futures. There's not just one future. The future is a space of possibilities. And I think it's very important to understand that you are the creator of your one future at the end. You are the one who is deciding on all the trends out there, on the crisis, on the challenges. You decide how you react on these trends, and this is how you create your future as a person, as an individual, but also as an organization. And nowadays, you have just to read the media. If you talk to people, if you look at the statistics, it's like the future is not a space of hope anymore. There's so many, oh my God, on the climate change and the wars and the human robotics that will steal our jobs and so on. So it's not a space of hope anymore, and it's a difficult situation. It's very difficult because we humans, we need a compelling future. We need a kind of a picture of the future where we get up in the morning and we know, okay, that's where we're facing. I go to work or whatever you do, but I do it to reach this destination. I do it for that. I have a reason, I have a purpose. And if we just have bad pictures of the future out there, this really influences the people in a bad way. It leads to protectionism, it leads to depression. It's really a bad foundation of creating the future. And I think it's super important to step up and to make sure, okay, I'm the creator. I decide how to react on these trends and challenges. And so how I, as an individual or organization, how I create the future. And this is very important. And because of the current situation, we wrote this book. I wrote it together with Markus E. of Jewa. And in German, it's called Zurück zur Zukunft.
Yep.
I think the English translation would be more like back to futures. Because we call it Zurück zur Zukunft, like, okay, we have to work on the future, At the moment, it's like, for everybody, it's like, the future, it's so bad and I don't like it. I want to avoid it, But no, especially now, we have to face it and we have to think about it. Okay, what kind of trends out there? What kind of possible scenarios out there? and what is your picture of the future, where you want to go, right? So we really have to put effort in it. We really have to put effort in it, resources, and work on the future, because otherwise it feels like, I don't know, you're standing in a tunnel and a train is coming, you know, and you have kind of no, you have no part in this, you know. Sometimes I really have the feelings, okay, the future is coming from the US and China, and we're just standing there and we are scared. We're just extremely scared, and we have to get out of this. It's very important, and there are so many tools and methods out there how you can work on it, how you can build scenarios, how you can analyze trends, how you can analyze the impact on trends, and so on. And that's is super important for me and for Markus, and because of that we wrote this book.
So you have in this book you talk about curiosity.
Yes.
And for the first time I read this, curiosity for you is not just a trait, part of our personality, of everybody, but you call it even a virtue.
Yes.
Because it's the base of innovation, of stepping forward. And
yes. Yeah, it's the foundation of innovation. I mean, think about, like, all the people say it's like, yeah, knowledge is important. And yeah, of course, knowledge is important, but all of the innovations out there, all of the progress we did, everything started with curiosity. Why is it like this? Could it be different? Could it be better? You know, the curiosity is the trigger of all the progress we see out there, and because of that, curiosity is it's a fundamental attitude and skill, and we really have to focus and realize this more, that how important it is.
You wrote also, you dedicated your book to people with dreams.
Yes.
And forerunners.
Yes.
This is the connection you do. If you have dreams, you become a forerunner.
Yeah, I think now we are in this kind of confusion phase, you know, and like, so, in which direction is it going? And we have so many transformations, and especially now you can see how important it is that we have a picture of the future, where it is going, how it should look like, what I mentioned before. And in my point of view, and also when I have these discussions with Marcus, it's like the last centuries, it was like always like getting better and better. You know, the economy is getting better and better. And of course, in this phase, it's like you need managers that make things more efficient and so on. And so you can make things better, right? But to create something new, to create something really disruptive, to make really this kind of system level change, you need creative people, you need dreamers, you know, because this doesn't come from out of nowhere. You need these guys, and that's why we also dedicated a book to the dreamers, like, say, you guys are important. It's very important, and believe on your dreams, and here's a book full of methods how you can fulfill them, how you can work on them.
And you suggested future labs. How should it be? How could it be done?
Yes. Yeah, I think the thing is, when we talk about the future, there are different kind of how I can approach them, right? You can look at current trends, you can make market research, you can ask your customers, and based on that, it's also called sense of reality. Based on that, you think about, okay, what kind of possibilities are in there for me as a person or as an organization, right? With that, it's really like kind of this incremental innovation stuff. But as I said before, with the backcasting, you can also turn it around and say, okay, how would be a product optimal? How would be a service optimal? How would it look like? You can also do it with a product, not just with your life, you know? I mean, I think Steve Jobs said like, user experience first, technology second. So I first think about how would it be optimal, and then I talk to the technicians and find a way how to the re-engineering, right? And it's also called sense of possibilities. And in this sense of possibilities, it's very important that you have some kind of a space where you can think about these possibilities. And in best case, you do not look at the current trends and the current possibilities. You just let them behind you and really think, how would it be optimal? How would it be great? How would it be awesome? How would it be fascinating, you know? And because then you really come up with this kind of ideas, right? And then you can do this backcasting. How do we get there? And in an optimal world, you do both approaches. You look at the current trends and you do the incremental development, but you also think about, okay, what is the next step of this industry? What is the next system level change? So you can prepare for it, or even better, you can be the disruptor, you know? It's also called ambidextry. You use both hands, incremental innovation and the existing operations, you improve this, but you also think about what is the next step. And for this sense of possibilities, this kind of future labs, this safe space, right, where you can think about stuff like that, and it's very important, because you also need different kind of people for both of the approaches. When we talk about
different personalities,
yeah. Exactly. For example, when you do more like this incremental innovation, of course, you need people from your industry, they know the industry and stuff like that, is experts. But when you talk about this sense of possibilities, you need a really diverse group of people from art, from different industries, you know, and you need this safe space that you can really think about it. Because if you do this in a, let's say, in a normal operational business environment, it's always like, I have this idea, and then the first thing is like, but how should this work? This is not working because of that. And how should that work? That is not possible. Because experts tell us all the time why something is not working, you know, and that's why you need these future labs to really, you really have a safe space at the end to think about possibilities.
And you talk about organizations and collaboration and everything, and synoptical
organization. Yeah, we call it the synoptic organization. Is an organization who use both approaches. Who do the incremental innovation, but also thinks about the sense of possibilities and the system level change. And when you integrate this into your strategy, then you're a synoptic organization, how we call it.
Yeah.
Because then you decide in your strategy what we are doing and why we're doing it. And with that, you go to your innovation departments and say, look, this is what we want to do. This is why we want to do it. Figure out how to do it. And if you use AI or, I don't know, Apple Vision Pro, we don't care. Figure it out. Then they have really a good playground. Because nowadays, when I work with a lot of innovation managers and innovation departments, it's really like a silo, you know, in the organization. It's a silo in the organization, and they running around and buying all these cool new gadgets and stuffs and think about, okay, what can we do with this? What can we do with this? Maybe we can do this, or maybe we could do that. And in most of these cases, this leads to nothing. this leads to nothing. Not really to innovation. But if you really do a proper research, like we said before, you use both approaches. And based on this, you create your strategy. You have a clear strategy. You know what you do, you know why to do it. And then the how is you give it to the operations or to your innovation department. So it's really the big problem what I see in organizations at the moment is really a problem of the structure. It's really the wrong structure. And there's this saying like, a bad system beats a good person every time. And I think that's what we see at the moment. And what I also realized that a lot of innovations departments are closing. Yes, I also talked to different guys in this area, and they also agreed with me that they realized that there are a lot of these departments are closing. And for me, it's like, okay, it's sad because we have to work on the future, what I said before. But on the other hand, how they doing it or how they did it was the wrong approach. It's not good to have a silo and this department is working on innovation. You really have to combine it with your strategy department. Then it's really powerful.
You designed this tool, how we can analyze the trends. It's another book of yours.
Yes.
Could you just talk a little bit about this
book? The trend canvas. I mean, in general, the whole writing books situation is really funny because when I was younger, I really hated books. And I was really bad in languages and I really hated it at all. I was also, especially in these German tests where you have to write, right? In German, it's like Diktat. I don't know what the English word is. I was so bad. It was always like a 6. You know, it's the baddest mark you can have in Germany. And I remember one situation with my German teacher. I missed one of these tests and I said, look, his name was Mr. Litz. Look, Mr. Litz, we both know the result, right? And so let's skip it. And he said to me, Marcel, don't worry. You are at a 6, so it just can be better, you know, because you're so bad. So this whole book writing is now that I'm writing books, it's like, it's really crazy for me, just about the books themselves. And about the trend canvas, it's like, I'm a really visual person. You know, that's also why I like art and all that stuff. I'm a visual person, and when it comes to all this impact trend analysis, I missed something. I missed a tool where I can really put the things together, right, and create a kind of a big picture. This was the one thing, and the other thing was that everybody was talking about, oh, the world is so complex. We have to think more holistically, you know, we have to think more holistically. And I was always like, yeah, sure, but how? It's not so easy, right? We have to think more holistically. Everywhere you can read it, yeah, we have to think more holistically and so on. And then, how? And so I came up with that idea of the trend canvas. And I got really inspired by Ursus Verlet. This is a photographer from Switzerland, and he did these books called Aufräumen, cleaning up.
Yeah.
Yes, and super funny picture books. And what I really realized on this cleaned up picture, so he first took a picture, for example, from French fries, right?
Okay.
How you buy French fries. Like you have this shelf and there are the French fries in. Yeah. And he said, look, this is a nice picture because most of the people like French fries, right?
Yes, they do.
But then the second picture was like, you saw the French fries, like, you know, like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. So he sorted everything, you know, he sorted the French fries. And he said, look, this picture, when you now look at this picture where the French fries are sorted, that's much better for our brain. if we want to analyze it, if we want to work with it, we have to sort the things, you know?
Okay.
And this really inspired me, and I said, yeah, it feels like a little bit the same when I think about trends. For example, when I think about autonomous driving, so many things are popping up. Oh, well, we need no driver license anymore, and there will be less accidents. And if there are less accidents, we need different insurance models. And blah blah, you know, it's really like all this
Chaos.
impact, this chaos coming up. And then I think, hey, we have to sort this, like Ursus Verli did, the Swiss guy. We have to sort it. And then I came up with this
French fries.
with this French fries, how he sorted French fries. At that time I was working at the Zukunftsinstitut in Austria, at the Future Institute. And we already used this method, the form of the firm, from Dirk Becker. It's from the system theory, and I used that form, and I adapted it a little bit and created the trend canvas. And it really helps you to think about, okay, now we have this trend, and then all the things, all this chaos is coming up, right? So with autonomous driving, for example, not less cars and things like that. And now you have really like, it looks like a Excel table more or less. And then you can really sort it. Okay, what is happening in the economy? What is happening in the society? How is this connected with the human needs? How is the impact on the nature? But also, what is the impact on my market, on my organization, and so on? So you really can create a big picture, and you see the connections. And then you see all the hypotheses and potentials and risks, and you have one big picture. And that's the story about the trend canvas.
But it's a tool.
It's a tool, yes. It's a tool to analyze, it's a tool to think holistically and to analyze the impact of trends on your organization. Where you really understand, okay, what is happening where, and how is the impact on my market, on my organization, on my processes, on my product. Yes, it's a tool.
You told me that you're really interested in sports.
Yes.
And these trends analyze, this tool you can also use for example, companies producing sports clothes, for example.
Yeah, sure.
You can use it all over.
Yeah, totally. It's there's no. It's not just focused on one industry. You can use it for any kind of industry because you have this system thinking. You know, nature, human, society, economy, markets, and so it's the same for each industry.
Like an upper
Yes,
pattern.
like a meta tool.
Meta tool.
Yes.
Pattern above.
Yes, exactly.
And coming back to you being an ambassador of this curiosity ministry.
Yes,
Tell
Ministerium.
us.
Yeah, it's a super nice non-profit project from an agency in Linz, and I like the two founders very much. And they came up with the idea, hey, curiosity is so important.
Again.
It's so important, and let's build this ministerium, right? Let's build it. And I think it was the original idea was from Arthur from Wolf Lotter. He wrote in a book like, we don't need a ministry for digitalization, we need one for curiosity, because that's the foundation. And these two guys said, yeah, we do it, let's do it. And they built this non-profit, and you should also be an ambassador for it. Everybody
Thanks.
should be an ambassador for it.
Thanks.
So you can sign up for free. You have to sign a manifest, like you stay curious and all that stuff.
Yep.
And they do really cool stuff. They have these curiosity salons where interesting people talking about innovations. And you get a lot of information and tools how you can implement curiosity in your life, but also in your organization. And I think it's a very, very cool project.
And the people meet somewhere and just talk about it, and you can read it afterwards, or
Yeah, it's
how it's spread?
It's they've different kind of different kind of how do we call possibilities. So one is, for example, the Neugier Salon, Curiosity Salon. It's like it's in one place. You can attend on site, but they also do stream it. So if you are an ambassador and you're sitting in Zurich, for example, you can invite your customers, your people around you, and you can stream it and can participate online. It's also possible. And last year, for example, we also had a meeting in Linz. The agency is based in Linz, and all the ambassadors came together, and we visited the Ars Electronica Festival, which is a really nice, innovative festival. So there are different kind of actions they are doing. But it's really cool. It's easy to access. You can participate. You not have to participate. And you get some cool stickers and shirts and stuff like that.
We have just stay hungry, stay foolish, and stay curious.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's the motto. Yeah.
Thanks, Marcel. This was really new stuff for me and interesting. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Vera. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.